because you have to peel the onion layer by layer. So I think it would be a big insult if I don't actually introduce UiTem before we start off. So UiTem actually, before it was UiTem or University Islam Technology Mara, it actually existed but in a different name since the day before our independence. So the Federation of Malaya in Malaysia, the independence was 1957, quite less or more, 50 or 60 years after that. So what happened was, the name was actually Dewa Latarida. It was a training center. And in 1967, it became the Institute of Technology Mara, ITM. And at that time, there was the faculty, the art school. So basically, if you talk about Oxford, if you talk about Cambridge, these are some of the earliest universities in the world. But if you talk about the earliest art school in Malaysia, then you're referring to the one and only UiTem, some of the earliest. But if you talk about the only university in the country that provided the first modern art education, then again you're referring to one and only UiTem. After that, it became a university in 1999, which the students could be enrolled and get a diploma until the doctoral philosophy level. So basically, today I won't waste much time. I will talk about three important issues or things. The first one is about the modern art, which is a brief timeline. The second is about contemporary art. So what are the treatments and subjects that these contemporary artists happening in Malaysia are using or experimenting? So the third one is about global nation and how the higher education role in actually performing their part to the community. So the first one is about the brief journey or timeline. Okay, as you can see, I know you can also see the date. Everything is a little bit detailed and I will zoom on that part. So basically what we have to know is that in 1957, if you can see, the big one, we received our independence. So every artwork that is produced before 1957 could be categorized in Malaysian modern art as pre-independence. And every artwork produced after 1957 could be categorized as post-independent, after independence. So there were several art movements and groups. And modern art in the world, we know that the modern art duration or era was in the context of the whole art world, is actually from 1960 until 1970. But in the Malaysian context, the modern art is started from 1930 until 1990. Starting from 1990 onwards, those are called contemporary art. Okay? So there are actually some art groups before and after independence. Some of them, in the earliest, in 1930, was the Penang Waterface Art Group. 1938, there was the Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts. 1952, Wednesday Art Group. And then Angkatan Pelukis Semenanjung. And one of the great things about Malaysia and how sensitive Malaysia is about the art scene or about art is that the moment we receive independence in 1957, 1 year after that, Malaysia made the first National Art Gallery, which is in 1958. So some of the important things you have to know about contemporary artists is that there was actually a National Cultural Congress. Before this National Cultural Congress, people doing art did art in different ways. Some in the Western ways, some in the Islamic ways, and different areas. So there was no perfect identity or no studies that could actually show what is actually contemporary art is all about. So it all reflected on the 1971, which is the Intercultural Congress. The first one, as we can see, I can read for you. The first things that are aligned. This one is the first one. The national culture should be based on the heritage or cultural thing in the region. So all of the subject matters that are being done in the visual painting, sculptures, and everything related to the art scene is done using the basic culture from the region. The second thing is any culture, any elements that are suitable to be adopted and to be adapted in the region is accepted. And the last one is that Islamic is as the main element for doing the art scene or the subject itself. Okay, so the second point is about contemporary art. So there are actually three big points or three big categories. When you define contemporary art in Malaysia, it started from 1990 onwards. So they are divided by three categories. The first category is artwork done reflecting the culture, using the study of the culture and elements, the symbol and everything. The second part is the artwork doing in an Islamic form of way. And the third one is a universal style, or artwork doing using Western, Eastern and a mixed style. So as you can see, the contemporary also called as the pluralist art group. The first one is traditional art, the second one is Islamic art, and the third one is universal style. So talking about traditional art, these are some of the traditional arts. Okay, when you talk about appreciation about artwork, there are elements to be seen. Among the first ones are the significant aesthetic elements. The second one would be the treatment of the material, the treatment of the subject. And the third one would be the philosophy behind the painting, the symbolic things behind the painting, the iconography, and everything historical background related to the painting. So these are some of the painting or visual arts being done. If you can see from the visual art, there's actually some of the material culture. So, and it symbols the heritage of Malaysia, from the daily things, daily charge of the Malaysian, from the day they wake up until the day that they go back to bed. So these are some from some of the artists, which you can see. Next one. And there's also sculptures being done by contemporary artists relating to heritage and the value of heritage. So this is actually, Rosni Zakara is actually a sculptor, PhD holder, is actually a lecturer in UiTM art. And he's been involved in a lot of international exhibition. And this is one of the picture of him, Changshu in China. So they made one of the public art. And the sculpture, as you can see, is actually a hand and holding a kris. So kris is actually a unique dagger by the Malaysian, the symbol of strength, the symbol of manhood. And another one as the hand is the hand of the people. Another one, as you can see, this is, everyone knows this, even the delegation of Thailand. So another one is by Dr. Shamiza Abu Hassan, also a PhD holder, as we can see. So this also from Malacca. This is one of the latest sculpture, which is the Mind Your Own Seed, stainless steel, mesh light bulbs. There's some of the materials using mesh stainless steel, aluminium, light bulbs, and pendulum. And if you after this art talk, if you go to the gallery, then actually this artwork is there. You can see it by your eyes. But the place you can't see here is in China. So you have to take a ticket, you have to go there. Okay, one fine day, okay, and these are some of the Islamic. So the motifs in Islamic uses geometrical, calligraphy, floral, and some of these elements. And afterwards, the universal style. Universal styles are artists in Malaysia that adopt a lot of these modern contemporary movement from outside the Western world. So as you can see this painting from Yusuf Ghani, the painting here which has the faces, the title is Siri Tope or Mask. So basically he is actually in an ism or movement of abstract expressionism. The other one is Rafi Ghani. If you see the painting, it's a little bit like Van Gogh's painting, right? Post-impressionism. So in universal style, they also have sculptures. So this is a sculpture by Diana Ibrahim. She's actually also a lecturer in UiTM Malacca also. And the other side is another one by Zulkifli Yusuf. So the last point that I would like to talk is about global nation, higher institution role in lifelong learning. So basically, there are some life skills and sense of skill that can actually be practiced and are responsibility of the higher institution level. So in UiTM Malacca, we have done and we have been engaging with a lot of society and works to actually make this thing happen. So global nation, the concept of lifelong learning, social responsibilities and values, there's even a paper published by the Spanish, which is their higher education in the fight against poverty from the capabilities approach. So they showed certain ways of actually fighting or actually dealing with poverty in the students, which this role has been played by the higher education level. So like this talk today, how we are actually asking and inviting our great delegations from Thailand. We're actually involving our school students, and at the same time, we're actually inviting students from primary and secondary students. So this is a moment when we share, the culture and community are engaged in one area. So there's actually a video, a short video actually, about this lifelong process, and it's a Thailand video, and it actually shows a lot about life learning. So it won't take much, but it's a very great video symbolizing about life learning process. How can you can learn something in a sensible way. It's a commercial video. From Thailand, yeah. A very great video. I used to share with my students some videos lately from Thailand, very great videos. So basically that's an example of a girl which is uneducated. She doesn't go to school, but she learns the way of socialization or the knowledge in it's not a formal way, but an informal way. So the problem that we have is about lifelong. The problem that we have is about the lifelong learning skill, which is we have great students, you know, CGPAs, cumulative grade point average. So students from UiTM, they come out with fall flat, 4.0, 3.8, 3.7, and they go out to the industries, these big giants industries, and what happened was that they can't even sell themselves like a 4.0 or 3.7 kind of students. It's a very shameful thing. What happened is that UiTM has introduced ICGPA, an integrated CGPA, which integrates all of these social value or lifelong value. One of them is about management, about teamwork, about entrepreneurship, and even the art school or art students in FSSR, they even in the fourth semester, they will be taking the ENT class or the business class. The lecturers or the teachers of the business school will come and teach them. We don't just want students to go out of UiTM seeking for private jobs or government jobs. It's a good thing. Going out and working in government sector, private sector,